Hello and welcome to another episode of Awakening Moments with Angie. I'm glad that you all are joining us. I hope you've had a splendid week. Today we're looking into another nonprofit organization that is in our area, which I felt was really a worthy reason to have them on this show, as I do with all of the nonprofits that we go through. Each week we try to bring you something a little bit more of the community that is not of the same pattern. And so today I'm actually going to open up the show with starting to introduce and getting right into discussion with Bridget. And so my special guest today is Bridget Brazeau. And she's the Director of Development at the Symphony, New Hampshire. Symphony, New Hampshire is a destination for live music, performing full orchestra concerts and concerts with smaller ensembles in Nashua, Manchester, Concord, and across the state. Bridget has been a director of development there for I believe she had told me 2 years, but she's going along with the flow with this, and I'm going to start by asking her a few questions. So, welcome, Bridget.
Thank you so much
for having me. To our space. Thank you for being here. So, Bridget, it has been 2 years, correct?
Yes.
That you've been a part of the New Hampshire Orchestra Symphony. I always want to call you an orchestra because that's like what you're known about, you know? So it's when they say Symphony New Hampshire, I kind of like immediately my brain goes orchestra.
That's exactly what we are, symphony and orchestra. You could call them either one.
So now when you put your concerts on and you go throughout the states, are these like fundraisers for your actual space? And is that always the case?
So our concerts are ticketed events, and those are supported by ticket sales, but also by donations, because not all of our concerts are fully funded by ticket sales alone. So we have to also raise money through our donors and through grant writing and that kind of thing, government funding a little bit. And but because we do more than just put on those concerts, we raise additional funds for things like education programs and concerts at senior living facilities, those kinds of things. So I guess as a nonprofit, you could consider everything we do a fundraiser. And we have been doing concerts at Keefe Center for the Arts in Nashua for many, many years, since 1923.
Wow.
And since 2012, we actually changed our name. We used to be Nashua Symphony. We changed our name to Symphony New Hampshire after the other professional orchestras in New Hampshire started going out of business. So we realized there were a lot of voids to fill, a lot of people who wanted to hear some really exceptional live music. So we decided to try and expand our concerts outside of Nashua. So we now reach places like Concord, Keene, Lebanon, Peterborough, Durham, as many places as you can imagine. Wow. And we're hoping to keep doing that.
Wow, that's an extensive amount of work.
Yeah.
So, 1923?
We're almost 100 years old.
I never realized that was around for that long.
Yeah.
So, is there a little history in that, of how they decided that they were going to start this, at that time, Nashua Symphony? And
yeah, it started actually as a volunteer orchestra, so it was more community-based. And when we hired Jonathan McPhee in the 2000s, he really brought us up to that next level. He's our music director and conductor. So now we are a fully professional orchestra, and with his help have become more of a statewide presence and really are presenting great art to everyone. But before that, it was more of a volunteer, amateur kind of orchestra, and so some people confuse us with some of the other orchestras in the state, but we are the only professional orchestra in New Hampshire.
Oh, so that's a very prestigious piece, because a lot of them are the amateurs,
right,
which is what you started out as.
Yes.
And now you've gone into the professional piece.
Correct.
That's how we all morph, so that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Because morphing is good because that means you have growth, and growth is good because you help more in the community.
Exactly.
So
and
that's
we,
awesome.
in July of last year, so almost a year now, hired our new executive director, Mark Thayer, who's been really instrumental in making a lot of really great changes too, continuing to present great art and great music, but also getting more involved with the community, providing free tickets for veterans, for immigrants, clients at the Adult Learning Center in Nashua, trying to get more people involved in our concerts, more people into the concert hall, and also bringing our concerts outside of the concert hall. So we've been presenting free concerts at the Hunt Memorial Library, at the Nashua Public Library, and we're hoping to keep doing those kinds of things. And NHPR had a show with a quartet of our musicians. Next year we're planning a concert at the Nashua Soup Kitchen. So we're trying to get our musicians out into the community a little bit more and really bring what we do to everyone, because we think that our music and music in general should be for everyone, regardless of income, socioeconomic, any of that.
Well, music is always very good to have in any community.
Yes.
And it's, you know, it's a foundation. Actually, I feel it's a very strong foundation in America of bringing community together.
Absolutely.
Anything you've ever seen, you know, you see a lot or hear a lot, people go into singing. Singing is a way to communicate.
Yes.
So it's really awesome to feel that. And so now you keep this going on. When you're working with them as a director, do you get to really get into it, or you kind of like look over and say, I got to stomp out all the fires?
Right. Well, I work in the office mostly, so I don't interact directly with the orchestra on a regular basis. That's mostly for our conductor, Jonathan McPhee. But there's only 3 of us full-time in the office, so we're kind of always stomping out fires.
Yeah.
That's the truth of any orchestra, of any nonprofit.
Nonprofits, yeah.
We all do everything, you know.
Yeah.
Just some days you're sitting at a computer, and some days you're hauling chairs and stands.
That's right.
We care so much. We don't mind.
Yeah.
We'll do it all.
So now, in the places that you've gone, what delights, you know, what is the most delightful? Like, what really like gives you that? You know, is there any place in particular that really does that for you guys?
I mean, all of the places that we've performed have been really fantastic. Like I said, our kind of home base is at Keefe Center for the Arts, which is on Elm Street, right next to Elm Street Middle School.
Oh yes, I've been there before.
Yeah.
That's a very nice location.
It's great for us, close to downtown,
Yeah.
accessible, easy parking, that kind of thing. And we've been to lots of different venues across the state as well. And our small ensembles go into every venue you could possibly imagine. And really, it's what gives you that feeling of, is the people, the audience.
The audience that comes
Yeah,
and
exactly.
participates.
And a little something unique about our concerts, our music director actually talks to the audience in between pieces, which is not something you see every day with everyday orchestras. He'll just give you kind of a brief little tidbit, something to hang on to while you're listening, something that as you're listening you catch it and you're like, oh, that's what he was talking about.
That's
And
pretty nice.
people love it. It makes them feel like they're part of what everyone's listening for the same thing. Everyone's having a shared listening experience, and it's really meaningful for the audience to feel connected in that way. And he always has some little tidbit that no one knew.
Yeah.
He knows a lot about the music.
About the different musicals.
Yeah.
So if you first off, do places in New Hampshire come seeking for you to come to their space?
Occasionally.
Or do you kind of
yeah.
vamp out and say, okay, where can we go next?
Yeah, we do a little bit of both. So we do sometimes get hired as an orchestra. So for instance, in October, we'll be performing in Durham at University of New Hampshire as part of their celebrity series. And then we also present our own concerts, like in Nashua at Keefe. That's just us doing our own concerts. We've collaborated with other organizations in the past, like the Neshoba Valley Chorale has had us come out and play with them. Our chamber musicians are available to be hired for any amount of, you know, it could be 1 musician to 20 musicians, anything. And it's whatever people need.
So they're available for any any shingding that comes up.
Yeah, actually, I had 3 of our musicians play at my wedding recently.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they do weddings and celebrations, corporate events, that kind of thing.
Nice.
And they can play anything you throw at them. They're great.
Now, do you people have a process of picking these musicians as far as like when they come and say, hey, I want to be a part of this?
Yeah, well, because we're a professional orchestra, there's actually a fairly rigorous audition process. So we hold auditions regularly when there's openings, and it's not many people know about the orchestra audition process. It's actually a blind audition. So you're behind a screen, They don't know who you are, all they hear is you playing the music. So really our auditions are about your talent.
The quality
and the
of
quality of
where
your
you
playing
play.
and the heart that you play with. And based on those kinds of things, we have people come in as either substitutes or as full-time playing musicians. And that's just as needed when there are openings. But most of our orchestra members are regular players, so they play on almost every concert.
That is really, it's great that you like keep that consistency.
Yeah.
And I like the idea that you're listening for the quality, for the enthusiasm in it. You're not like checking out how the person's holding, like you don't have them there. You're
Right.
going by what you're feeling from that
Exactly.
absorption of the music. I
Exactly.
think that's an awesome piece.
And that's why we really like to do as many chamber music opportunities as we can. So chamber music meaning small ensembles, because it really gets the musicians to know each other and play well together in small settings, so that when they get together as a full orchestra, they know how each other play. They can read each other as they're playing. They feel each other as they're playing, and that really makes a big difference to the quality that the audience gets from them when they really know each other as musicians.
So now how many orchestra members do you have at this time?
We have, up to an orchestra we had in November of last year was 20, and up to 100. It just depends on how many are needed for the repertoire, the music that we're playing.
Oh, so you'll audition until you get the
So,
amount
yeah,
that you
so
need
we
for
have-
what you're looking into putting together.
Yeah, so we have a list of people that we can call on that have auditioned, and then we have our regular players who are
And now
the
do you
playing
do these
members.
auditions on like certain times of the year, or
know,
do they come in and audition?
I'm not super familiar with the
Okay.
process.
All right.
I don't do too much with the personnel. It's the people in the orchestra. But whenever they're scheduled, they
So
do
they
at
have
least
actual
one a year,
scheduled
depending
pieces.
on
So if somebody was interested in saying, hey, I've never really realized that, that opportunity was there. So what they would do is they would connect with Symphony New Hampshire and say, hey, when are you doing auditions?
Yeah. So
Okay.
we accept
But
resumes
that's accepted
anytime.
by
yeah.
anybody. Now, do they have to be in the state to become
No.
a Symphony New Hampshire?
We actually have a fair amount of our musicians come from Massachusetts. A lot of musicians who do things like our orchestra play for lots of orchestras. So we get our principal oboes from all the way from Rhode Island.
Wow.
And a few from the Boston area, northern Massachusetts, New Hampshire, up as far as north of Concord, all over the place. Doesn't matter where they're
And
from.
now your age, that's the other thing. When you look at this orchestra, is it like a varying age groups?
Yeah, it is. We have, some people who are recently graduated from school, up to our concertmaster who's been playing for years with us.
Yeah.
It's a whole wide range of people who are just fresh out of learning their trade,
Yeah.
and people who have been doing it as a career for many years.
It's very awesome that you have that. So in other words, if I'm 20-something and I'm like, well, I don't think they'd really want me because I'm this 20-year-old, I'm thinking the wrong way.
Yeah, it's about how you play.
They have to go out and have themselves checked out for playing.
Yeah, they have to go through the audition process, yeah.
Now, also, when you're doing all of these symphonies, when you're doing maybe the one that's actually right here in Nashville, would probably be the one I'd be most interested in a thought on. How do you maintain like all of the different things that need to be done on the stage, or perhaps getting the word out for the ticketing and I'm assuming you must have some volunteering that comes into play with this.
Yeah, we do. So I think I said this earlier, we have 3 full-time staff. So myself, our executive director, Mark Thayer, and our director of audience engagement, Audrey Alessi. And the 3 of us do a variety of things to get concerts ready to go. We have like music librarians, a personnel manager, the conductor, stage manager. A lot of hands go into making our concerts happen. But as far as volunteers go, we have 2 main volunteer groups, which are our ushers. So those are people that when you come into the concert, they check your tickets, they make sure you know where to go, help you if you have any questions, keep you safe, that kind of thing. And we also have a really great volunteer group called the Friends of Symphony New Hampshire. And they do a couple of different fundraisers throughout the year. Their biggest one is the Holiday House Tour, which is across Greater Nashua. They do a tour of usually between 4 and 5 homes decorated for the holidays.
Oh.
And that's a fundraiser for Symphony New Hampshire. And just recently we did a fundraiser at a new restaurant in Manchester called Cabernet. That was also a fundraiser for the Symphony. And they get together every once in a while to plan, to have social events, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they're always looking for new members. So if that's something anyone's interested in, it's there's
Nice.
more information on our
Now,
website.
can I ask you, when you do the I think you said the holiday where they have the
house
different
tour.
house, are some of the orchestra members there playing at these houses?
Yes, so
Oh,
we
that's
do.
really cool.
We do have some volunteer musicians from the community that come out, and we also have. There's a really great group of string players called Sinfonietta Strings out of Nashua. They are elementary school age students
Oh, my.
who do an after-school program for strings because there is no string program in the Nashua School District. And they're led by one of our violinists, Nancy Goodwin. And they come out and play at one of the houses too. And we try to get a couple of symphony musicians out as well. So you never know which house you're going to get what kind of music. And last year we had a house that actually had a vina player, which looks kind of like a sitar. And they had students and a teacher play various Indian music. And it's a whole variety, everything you can
wow.
imagine, yeah.
That's pretty neat. So now if somebody was come in and they had a unique type of instrument like that, then they obviously have the need for that. So like,
Yeah.
for instance, in what I work with holistic, we have people that do like a didgeridoo,
Yeah.
something like that. So they actually would bring those types of things in at times,
Yeah,
just to entertain.
Yeah, because we try to not use the word classical music
Yeah.
because we really don't just do classical music. We do all kinds of music. Our holiday concert is pops music. Our musicians can play everything from Irish to jazz
Yeah.
to, we
See, I'm
run a
glad
whole gambit.
I'm glad this is coming up because I myself have always looked at this as it's the symphony, it's the orchestra, and I've never really looked at it in that aspect. But I'm glad to hear that come out right now because I don't feel that many people are aware of that factor.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's why we now, instead of saying classical music, just say exceptional music. We just want it to be great quality that connects with people, and it can be of any, that's like I said, our chamber musicians will play anything you put in front of them. They're really talented, so they'll play any genre of music you can imagine.
Very nice. Now, do you do anything with the schools in the area as far as like bringing schools in or performing with schools or getting them to kind of capture this
Yes.
magic, I guess I could call it?
Yeah, we do actually. So we have a program called Picture This, which has been running for a few years now. And we recently started doing it with the 3rd graders in the Nashua School District and have expanded it outside of Nashua to reach Manchester, Concord, Bow. This year for the first time we went to Lebanon, New Hampshire. And the basic premise of the program is it starts with a woodwind quintet, so 5 wind instruments, flute, oboe, clarinet, bassoon, French horn. They go into the schools and do a program that works with the curriculum of not just the music classes, but also the academic classes. So they talk about how vibrations make music, make sound, and they also talk about how music can tell a story. So they play Peter and the Wolf.
Yeah.
And after the quintet has gone into each elementary school, all of the third graders come to the concert hall near them. So in Nashua, they come to Keefe, and we do a full orchestra concert. So they take a field trip and they hear a full orchestra.
That's so sweet.
And the music director, Jonathan McPhee, walks them through the program. They do a little bit of the standards like Beethoven, Prokofiev, a couple of those kinds of things, and things that are a little more familiar to them. So Pirates of the Caribbean,
Yes.
Stuff that's a little more, they can grasp it and it makes sense to them. So we try to balance out the program so that they're learning something new, but they're also getting excited because they know what it is. And so that is supplemented with a screen PowerPoint above the orchestra that shows, different pieces of different pieces. Like there's a Sibelius piece that we play that's about Finland, and there's a picture of trolls going through the woods, and Jonathan will say, all right, can you find which part of this piece is the trolls stomping through the woods? And so it encourages them to use their imagination about music and really think about what they're hearing, but making their own connections as well. What do you get from this piece, and how does it make you feel, and what kind of story does it make you want to tell?
That is very fascinating, and it's really you actually got them off the computers and let them physically utilize sound and adaptations.
Yeah, exactly. And live music is so important.
It is, I agree.
We do everything we can to enhance the work that the music teachers are doing in their classroom, and hearing a live orchestra there's nothing like it. Hearing a recording just isn't the same thing.
Right.
I mean, literally just feeling the sound, being in an audience of people who are also connecting with the music, everyone making their own connections and feeling their own story making behind whatever is happening on stage, and getting to actually watch the musicians make the music. There's just nothing like it. And it really connects with the students, especially since it's what they've been learning. To actually see it live there's nothing like it.
And a lot of them wouldn't have that opportunity if it hasn't been for this program.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
I don't know too many third graders that would say to me, hey, Mom, I want to go see an orchestra.
Yeah, exactly. And we actually surveyed teachers last year. For 80% of the students, they had never seen a live orchestra before. Right. So for 80% of them, it was the first time in the concert hall for a live orchestra. And because of that, we're trying to do a lot more to get students and young people into our concerts. We now offer free tickets for anyone under the age of 15 for any of our concerts, matinees, regular concerts, doesn't matter. And we also lowered our ticket price for students, so now we only have $10 tickets for students. So we do everything we can to get young people into the concert hall and excited about live music. And we're trying to continue to expand this education program that we have, and are considering introducing some new ones into the school district as well, but we're still in the works on that one.
But that is an awesome, it is really, just that piece alone in the community, reaching out to the children of that age group, which is a very, that to me is like the time where you really catch their comprehension or catch what they want to do. And I'm sure that when you expose them to this, a lot of times, instead of going off and, playing a computer game or I'm going to spend $20 on a new little game thing, maybe they'll entice their parents and say, hey, let's go check this out.
Yeah, that's...
And, the musical pieces are very nice.
That's definitely one of our goals, is to get them excited about wanting to play an instrument. So the reason we do it for third grade is in the Nashua School District, fourth grade is the year that they choose whether or not to join the band program. So that's why we specifically use our wind instruments, not our string instruments, to go into the schools, because we want them to realize it's something that any of them can do. Any of them can be good at it. Yeah. Any of them can try. And playing an instrument has been proven to have so many benefits for people of that age. Self-confidence, teamwork, stress relief. There are so many reasons why students should be playing music, and we want them to realize that it can be really fun, that they can make it their own, that they can really connect with it in their own way. And third grade is the perfect time for that.
It's funny you say that. I'm giving thought back to my childhood. And our whole family, there was actually a piano in the house.
That's nice.
And everybody got their lessons, and usually, I believe my lessons started when I was in 2nd to 3rd grade. That's when I started my lessons with the piano. Of course, before that, we would always, utilize it and have a little gather and
Yeah.
get together and sing, which, you don't see that too much anymore in this time either, but
Yeah.
I'm aging myself, but, that was part of the pastime.
Yeah,
Is get this, dance, sing, play the piano. That was a big piece of our home, was having the piano there.
Yeah, that's my grandmother was a music teacher, and she had 8 kids, and she tried to get them all to play the piano, but none of them ended up as any kind of musician in there now as their career. I think I was the only one who went into music as a career, but she tried to teach me piano when I was really young, and I didn't really connect with it. And then when band was introduced, and they said, well, you could play a wind instrument like the oboe.
Yeah.
And I said, okay. And that was what did it for me. I said, this is what I want to do. I want to play the oboe. And that's what really got me interested. So I hope that that's what we're doing for students as well. Because my family really wasn't big into music, piano, and any of that kind of thing, but my grandma tried to bring it on me. So I hope that, for families that maybe aren't encouraging music and don't realize what great benefits it have, that we can do that for them. We can be that thing for them to get them excited.
That's good. And I also, with that being said, kids need something there's so much, I myself see it with a lot more with the children now. There's just so many stress factors around them. They have so much that they have to give thought to, a lot of things that are around them that, just in a musical instrument, to me, when I went and played my piano, I was just like in my own little world with my piano keyboard, and then when I got older, I started doing keyboard instead of piano, because then I could take it and play. But, to me, that was my relaxation to some extent, and I'm sure with a lot of children, it's their, getaway time.
Exactly, yeah, it's a really good opportunity for children to kind of escape.
Yeah.
And to do something that is personally rewarding, but also fulfilling, and something that they can use throughout their entire lives, even if they don't become a professional piano player. It's something that will stick with them forever.
It still builds confidence.
It builds confidence. It builds dedication and working. How to sit down and practice and actually work through things that will take you through so many places in life. And they find so many correlations, between good grades and being a musician. And I, of course, don't have all the data on that, but I know as for myself, that definitely had a big part in being a good student.
Well, let's face it, they even have little Einstein for your baby that,
Exactly.
the unborn baby has Einstein playing in the background and
Yeah.
stuff. And they do, I'm a strong believer of that.
Yeah, we were at the Nashua Park and Recreation has a summer fun festival over the summer, and they had their opening day kickoff celebration on Saturday, and we had a booth there we have a colorful Beethoven as our motif this year. And all the kids we asked, I said, do you know who Beethoven is? And they said, yeah, he's on Little Einsteins. We know Beethoven and Mozart from Little Einstein. So it's really good to know that it's a recognizable face, that they know who it is, that they enjoy it, they're excited about it. And so that makes our job easy.
That's pretty cool.
So we thank Little Einsteins.
So now we know that, any musician that really feels they have the talent can come and get auditions, check in and find the timing. We've also found that you always accept volunteers.
Always, yes.
And the volunteers, it's very simple to be out there and be with the people. And I'm always one that, when we talk about volunteering for these nonprofits, if you find yourself sitting around and saying, I never meet anybody, I don't get a chance to really connect with anyone, I'm bored, I'm unhappy because I'm just sitting in my 4 walls, what am I going to do now? I can't afford to do this, I can't afford to do that. There's no excuse, because there's these nonprofits. If you enjoy music, why not be in a symphony hall and, helping them to maintain a crowd while you're in that whole beautiful realm of the music. To me, that's better than sitting in my four walls or watching some old soap opera. So I'm going to say to everybody, look into that, check it out. They're right in your neighborhood. They're right in Nashua. Actually, now that you've expanded, Bridget, do they accept volunteers like at the other spaces, right? Because, if somebody's looking at this in Manchester or another area, Dover, they have the same opportunity, am I correct?
Yeah, so our office is still based in Nashua. That's still kind of our home base. So if we're looking for administrative volunteers, that's where it would mostly be. But when we perform in Concord, there's a group called the Friends of the Concord City Auditorium, and they provide volunteer ushers. So that's an opportunity for volunteering. And they have various opportunities beyond just our concerts there too.
And what was the name of that organization?
The Friends of the Concord City Auditorium.
Okay, see,
Yeah.
so that's how they would get a hold of becoming
Yes.
a part of this. Nice.
So there's plenty of opportunities everywhere we go.
Yeah. So just connect. If you're not aware of like one of those places that you might be able to connect with Symphony New Hampshire, call their administrative offices or email them or, whichever way you want to communicate. And ask them. I'm sure they'll be able to give you that information so that you can reach out in your own community, whether you be in Manchester, Concord, Dover, Peterborough. I think you go to Peterborough, that area. So, there's no excuse. They're all over the place. If you enjoy music, come on and help them. Be part of the community.
It's a really great way to get involved.
Yeah, it is. And I'm sure that there's some stories that if you brought in some of these volunteers, I'd find that they had some stories of, I had so much fun with
Absolutely.
this and I have all these new friends and all that, right? Because that's what
Exactly.
it's all about.
It really is. It's a good way for people to get to know each other and connect with something that they all love, which is music. And it's a good way to share that with other people.
Now, another question I have for Symphony New Hampshire, do people ever do anything in regards, like we were talking about these student programs, but how about people who are like maybe the elderly side of the bargain, it's like...
Right. We do. We actually offer a couple of different opportunities for seniors. We have senior discounts for our regular concert tickets. We also offer library passes at all of the local libraries, most of the local libraries, at Hudson Public Library, Nashville Public Library. You can check out a pass for a reduced ticket price for any of our concerts. We have started a series of programs at local retirement communities. So at specifically right now we're at the Hunt and the Huntington in Nashua. But are always looking to bring our chamber music to more of the senior living communities.
Right.
We offer as well occasionally programs with the Nashua Senior Center. And at Riviere, they have a program called RISE, which is specifically senior education.
Yes.
And this year are starting a class about symphony music. And I don't know the exact
Wow.
curriculum, but our bass player, Robert Hoffman, will be, he's the one that does also our pre-concert lectures and talks at the library. He'll be presenting a series of classes at Riviere for the senior education program.
Nice. Yeah, that's another very nice piece in this area.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very good. And as far as instruments, do you ever have a need for instruments, or because you have professionals, apparently you probably don't?
Right, so we personally don't, but when we are asked that question, I'll usually turn people to the Nashua Community Music School or Sinfonietta Strings. Both of those places have students that might need an instrument provided to them rather than renting. I think the community music school will occasionally also accept pianos, but we actually don't have a need for for instruments.
Instruments,
Yeah,
yeah.
our musicians all
Yeah.
have their very own, very special instruments that they wouldn't give up for the world.
So I find from what you're saying that, because I'm familiar with the community, it's a student center.
Yes,
I'm trying to remember the name. It's Nashua Community
community
Music?
school.
Yes. I'm familiar with them, and so I'm assuming that all of you kind of work together in
We
the
do.
community to
Yeah.
help support each other, which is very nice. Again, it's all community-based.
It is, and we try to do everything we can to promote what they're doing as well, because we think that what they're doing is so important, and we want to be a part of it. We bring their students into concerts a lot. At our gala this year, we had their students play during the cocktail hour, which was a great opportunity for them to play to a live crowd, and we try to support what they do as often as possible.
Yeah. So that's another good one in the area. So yeah. So while you have center stage here in Hudson, and this will be at other places too, the viewing audience that I have online and in other communities, anything specific coming up in the next few months? I know you say you kind of close down for the summertime.
Yeah, so the full orchestra doesn't play during the summer, but we have small ensembles that play in various places. We'll have a concert at the Nashville Public Library as part of their box lunch series. We have our brass players are performing at Holman Stadium on the 4th of July.
Nice.
And some small ensemble things happening here and there, like at the retirement homes and that kind of thing. And then the full orchestra concerts start at the beginning of October. And our season opener is a great concert of course, Beethoven. Can't go wrong with Beethoven.
Of course.
And Dvorak's New World Symphony, which is one of everyone's favorites. I'm sure if you don't realize you know it, you do. If you'd heard it, you'd say, okay, I know that. But our full season, which is basically from October to April, we're running a Beethoven festival. So we have Beethoven on almost every concert.
Awesome.
Yeah, we've got a really fun Beethoven design this year that I'm sure you'll see around town a lot. And we've got some really great soloists coming in. Our Holiday Pops concert in December, which has kind of become an annual tradition. We have a really cool Americana band called Act of Congress. They're coming to perform with us. We have a Grammy Award-winning soprano, Christine Brewer, coming to perform with us in November. And then Kelly Hall Tompkins in January. She is currently the violin soloist for Fiddler on the Roof on Broadway.
Wow.
So we've got a really great
You
season
got a
coming up.
Good season coming up.
Of course, our regular wonderful orchestra, and then some really great guest artists as well. So it'll be really fun.
Beethoven is one of my favorites.
Yes.
So
One of everyone's favorites.
yeah,
You can't go wrong with Beethoven.
yeah. And actually, I feel if it's somebody that's just coming in, they'll be very impressed.
That's the thing is, some people think, well, the symphony, it's not for me. You have to dress up and it's fancy, and it's really not. It's for everyone. And all I say is give it a try. Just come one time. If you think it's not for you, you'll be surprised.
Definitely.
It just takes one time in the concert hall to realize it's really for everyone. You don't have to know anything about music to enjoy it.
No. Music makes its own pleasure.
It does. It does. It's universal.
So is there anything else that you'd like to share? Anything else that you'd like to let the viewing audience know about in regards to anything to do with Symphony New Hampshire?
Yeah, right now we are running a community campaign. So we are doing an appeal to our audiences and to new people to raise $10,000 for access to live music for the whole community. So that's a lot of things we talked about, free ticket programs,
Right.
and more public concerts that are free, and hopefully, if we raise enough, doing a series of family concerts in Nashua this year. So we are offering a wide variety of donor benefits, ranging from a Beethoven sticker to a backstage meet and greet with our music director, Jonathan McPhee.
Nice.
And our goal is really to get more involved with the community, and we can't do that without the support of the other members of the community. So we're running, the challenge is to reach 10,000 by July 1st.
Wow, you're coming close to
Getting
that
close.
time. Huh? All right, so we want to make sure that we put that out there for everyone, to, check in, look at Symphony New Hampshire. All the information in order to contact them will be shown on the screen, right under Bridget. And so watch for that, put it down, go to the website. Again, if you are sitting there, just enjoying a TV set or, hanging around by yourself and doing crazy stuff at home, come on out, become a part of the music corporations, become a part of the music and enjoy the community. You never know who you'll meet there, what you'll come up with. It's always a fun atmosphere to be in. Music, you can't go wrong. So again, another opportunity for you to come out and enjoy. And if you can't enjoy, come to some of the performances. If you're not able to be there to support them in volunteering, come out and join the performances. Bring your children out. Bring your elderly mother, father, aunt, uncle. Bring them out. They'll always love a music festival of any type. So I want to thank Bridget for being with us today.
Thank you, Angie,
I'm really
for
glad
having me.
that you were here today to share all of this information.
Thank you so much for having me.
And so at this time, I'm going to wrap up another one of my awakening moments, asking everyone to enjoy the music, enjoy the week, be prepared for helping out your community, because at this time, we need to be more supportive of our community and the nonprofits that are within it, the smaller nonprofits that really need your support, but also are there for you to gain support from as well. And with that being said, I thank you for joining us. Until another week.